everyone, it's author Sandra Wilson here in the Kindness Kangaroo Library for another Kangaroo Tale. Today we're sharing the story Visit the Stars by Naila Syed. And as always, in the description below you can find a link so that you can order a copy of the book for yourself. Here we go, Visit the Stars. A new baby was being put to sleep in her dark blue room. Her father paced with her all around the room, cradling her and soothing her. Soon the baby quieted and her small eyes squinted to a close. It almost looked as if she was trying to make out the glorious glowing stars on the ceiling above. They glowed much brighter than the princesses and rainbows that others love. Her breathing eventually became rhythmic, with the occasional hiccup, until she was fast asleep. The father gently lowered her down into the crib, secretly wishing his embrace he could forever keep. Walking quietly to the door, not wanting to wake the new baby, he whispered, "Have smart dreams, but don't go away too far. Wait till one day, together we'll visit the stars." If you know babies, you know babies grow fast, and that's exactly what this baby did. Soon this baby girl grew up into a wondrous little girl, and if you know wondrous little girls, you know how loud they can be. Fearless and fiery and intrepid girl for all to see. The wondrous little girl made a little rattle at school. This little rattle had grains of gray sand in it that shook together in a smooth, small cardboard roll. She shook the rattle up and down, left and right, and all around. The sound excited her, fascinated her. Oh, how interested she became. How does this work, she wondered to herself. Maybe in my dreams I'll see. Soon it was nighttime, which meant it was bedtime. Slowly her father tucked her in tightly, and just rightly so. Walking slowly to the door, he said, "Have smart dreams, but don't go away too far. Wait till one day, together we'll visit the stars." If you know wondrous little girls, then you know they dream big. And that's exactly what this wondrous little girl did. She dreamed about an astronaut on a spacewalk by the International Space Station, also known as ISS, installing a cosmic rays detecting instrument. All was quiet at the instant. Suddenly a little tool slipped from the astronaut's hand. The astronaut looked down at the falling tool as it made its way down toward the beautiful blue-green planet far below. You could see the falling tool grow smaller still and soon disappear into the glow. If you know wondrous little girls, then you know they grow fast, and that's exactly what this little girl did. This wondrous little girl grew up into a creative, not-so-little girl anymore. And if you know creative, not-so-little girls, then you know they love to make art. This not-so-little girl loved to paint. She painted the moon gray, black, and white, with little gray mountains and not-so-little gray mountains, with deep, dark black craters and white, washed-up moon rocks. She wondered if the near side of the moon that she saw outside her window at night looked like how she painted it. She added in some more white into the texture until it looked real enough to her. How does the moon feel? She wondered to herself. Maybe in my dreams I'll see. Soon it was nighttime, which meant it was bedtime. Her father tucked her in tightly, and just rightly so. Walking slowly to the door, he said, "Have smart dreams, but don't go away too far. Wait till one day, together we'll visit the stars." If you know creative, not-so-little girls, then you know they dream big. This creative, not-so-little girl dreamed about an astronaut walking on the moon. The astronaut bent down to pick up some lunar sand. The grains slipped through their fingers back to the ground. Continuing to observe the surface, the astronaut bent down further, scooped up some basalt, then tucked it away into a pouch. If you know creative, not-so-little girls, then you know they grow fast, and that's exactly what this creative, not-so-little girl did. She grew up into a curious, big girl. And if you know curious big girls, then you know their list of questions is not just one or two. Their questions are in abundance about things like the skies, space, stars, just to list a few. This curious girl examined the detailed map of Mars. She looked at the red, iron-rich materials on the surface. In awe, she noted the largest volcano, highest mountain, and the deepest, longest valley in the solar system. She couldn't help but gaze with wonder at the vast canyons, valleys, and mysterious paved streaks. On the surface, orbiters have detected many minerals and a possible water-rich past. Could it be, she wondered to herself, maybe in my dreams I'll see. Soon it was nighttime, which meant it was bedtime. Tucking her in, tightly and rightly so, her father walked away slowly, silently toward the door. As he was closing the door, he said, "Have smart dreams, but don't go away too far. Wait till one day, together we'll visit the stars." If you know curious big girls, then you know they dream big. This curious big girl dreamed about an orbiter orbiting the fourth planet from the sun. Although named Mars, it's also known as the Red Planet. This orbiter used spectroscopy to collect some information about the surface and sent it to Earth. This information was also shared with the astronaut in the ISS. The orbiter examined sloped, narrow surfaces of the red planet, observing flowing liquid during some parts of the year and then disappearing at other times mysteriously. Although uncertain, it has been thought that liquid flows with warmer temperatures and then evaporates during the colder season. If you know curious big girls, you know they grow fast, and that's exactly what this curious big girl did. She grew up into an adventurous young woman. And if you know adventurous young women, you know they love to travel. This woman traveled to see the largest impact crater in the country. She visited the Barringer meteor crater in Arizona. This very heavy meteorite left quite an impression when it impacted the Earth. Since this collision, tens of thousands of years have gone by. Astounded and amazed, she peered up at the sky. Whatever else falls onto our Earth, she wondered to herself. Maybe in my dreams I'll see. Soon it was nighttime, which meant it was bedtime. When young adults grow up, they find their parents are no longer as they once were. The adventurous young woman's father had grown old, and so she visited him next door. Up, up, up the stairs she went. She opened the door and tiptoed in on the wooden floor. Hearing his soft breathing, she felt satisfied for his well-being. Noticing his adventurous young daughter standing at the door, he turned slowly. She walked in and said, "I had smart dreams, and I did not go too far. I will wait for the day when together we'll visit the stars." If you know adventurous young women, then you know they dream big. This adventurous young woman dreamed about the largest asteroid in the solar system, Ceres. A member of a party of 5, Ceres, Pluto, Makemake, Haumea, and Eris, also known as the dwarf planets, all thrive. Large rocky objects, yet smaller than planets, asteroids do exist. Orbiting our star, the sun, they cannot be missed. But if they are so numerous, these smaller pieces, how many meteorites actually impact our planet? Fortunately, not many, for our atmosphere serves as a protective blanket. If you know adventurous young women, then you know they grow fast, and that's exactly what this adventurous young woman did. She grew up into an extraordinary woman. And if you know extraordinary women, you know they have plenty of exciting, worthy work to do. This extraordinary woman grew up to do exciting, worthy work indeed. She traveled, trained, and taught all about the skies, space, and stars. She got to see it all, sights near and far, including the spectaculars. All that was left was to share what she could with her father. But how could she do so now, she wondered. For you see, this extraordinary woman always dreamed big dreams, as a wondrous little girl, a creative not-so-little girl, a curious big girl, an adventurous young woman, and an extraordinary woman. She was not one ever shy of wit, but as often happens when we become wandering, extraordinary adults, our parents are no longer with us in presence, but only in spirit. So although she was no longer dreaming, and she was far away, she realized this was the day, even in spirit, together they visited the stars. And what I think is very cool about this book is that there's a glossary at the back to teach us the real facts about some of the things that were mentioned in the story, like the meteorites, like the International Space Station. And so you can have a lovely story that talks about dreaming big, and then you can also learn more facts about space. So what a great book, Visit the Stars. Make sure to check the description below where you can get a copy for yourself. And make sure to join us next time as in the Kindness Kangaroo Library as we share another kangaroo tale. Bye!